So we need to work now on the swimming pool. And as you may remember from the video called three-step workflow, we need to work in that way now. So the first step would be to find the right main folder to create a folder inside. So because the swimming pool is part of the render, the right main folder would be adjustment. So I create a subfolder inside adjustment and I call it swimming pool lowercase. And then the second step would be to put a mask on the group itself. So we need to go inside the mask folder. And here we go. The first one is the right one also. So we are lucky. We go into the channels and we click on the blue thumbnail, pressing Ctrl at the same time on the keyboard to get the shape. So we get back to the layers, we hide the masks, we go back on the swimming pool folder and we add this selection as a mask. So everything inside this folder is going to be visible only here. And that's a great thing. Now we need the row reflection pass, which is somewhere here. You see, this is the one we used for the glasses. And so we make a copy of it, Ctrl J, and we take a copy and we bring it inside the swimming pool. Okay, so now we have the content, the pass that we need. But if you check now, the row reflection is kind of wrong because at the beginning we made this concrete wall brighter and is not as bright as we need. We just work on the reflections of these glasses and this is the old reflection. So again, it's wrong. And also we have a new background and a new sky. And here we don't see any reflection of it. So what we need to do now is one by one to take the new elements, make a copy of them and put them on top of the old reflection before we can, let's say, match this one, merge this one with the render itself. Okay, so let's start with the reflection we have here. Okay, what we need to do and what I normally do is this. I can just go on top of the layers here. I normally hide the props because sometimes they just annoy me or what I'm doing. Okay, I don't want them inside this new merged layer. I select one visible group or layer, doesn't matter, and I press Ctrl Alt Shift E to get basically a screenshot of the actual work, of the actual PSD. And what I'm doing now is this. I'm going to take only this area here because it's the area I really need, I really care about, and I'm going to press Ctrl J. Now, if you press Ctrl J while you have a selection, you will make a new layer only with that selection inside, as you can see here. Now, I'm not going to move it from there. I don't need this layer anymore. And I'm bringing this layer here on top of the old reflection. And because I don't know, how much I will modify it, I don't know how much I will resize it, or if I need to do something, destructive, I can just for now convert this into a smart object. I don't know, maybe in the future I will rasterize it, but for now I have a smart object and I'm kind of I feel more safe, I would say. And so now we can just, do this, we can scale it down, or we can just Control T, right click, flip vertical is the same. And then we can just move it down. And as you can see, it gets in the right position. Of course, this reflection is kind of fake because, it's we just flip it vertically a layer. And but you know what is going to work because in the end, we are going to paint some small waves, some ripples, and you're not gonna get you're not gonna find any issue. And so we have now the new reflection of the inside, and we can do something even here for the backgrounds. And as I told you before, we can go here and we can do it again. You can do this, or you can just take the ones we have inside the Fresnel reflection, I think. Anyway, we can just select the background photo with the trees and the sky and press Ctrl Alt E to get a copy of it. We bring the copy up here. Again, we flip it vertical, so Control T, and then right click, flip it vertical. And I don't know, from this point of view, probably these trees are so far away, we are not going to see something like this. I don't know. It's a little bit, I mean, it's not easy to understand what you can actually get as a reflection from here. But anyway, we are going to keep this on a separate layer so we can move it any moment. And now we don't need this everywhere, but we only need this here. So you see, what I'm doing is I'm hiding the layer for a second, and with rectangular selection, I'm selecting this area, which is the area I want. You can zoom in if you want to do more kind of precise work. Let's say this. Okay, you can move the selection with the arrow keys. And then I put a mask there. And of course, it's gonna work, but you can unlink the mask from the content. And if you feel like it's wrong, the reflection is wrong, you can just move the reflection. So move the content. I'm moving it with the arrow keys from the keyboard, pressing Shift, they will move more. You see, if you press just the arrow keys, the movement is kind of very slow, but if you press Shift also, it gets more space in between each position. So once I find location I like, I will keep it. I normally go with, with my eyes for this. And I'm trying to keep a little bit of sky anyway in the swimming pool because I think it's gonna look better, okay? And then if you need, you can zoom in again and refine this area. And don't worry, if you zooming it out, you can see like a white line here is because of the anti-aliasing. So don't worry, sometimes you have to, merge everything together to see the actual results. Now, I like what I see. And for last, I put a curve, because remember that a reflection is always darker than the actual object which is reflected. So we need to do something like this, okay? And I will also have a little bit of hue saturation just to desaturate it a little bit. Okay, good. Now, this is it. This is the swimming pool reflection. But it's not enough, okay? It's not enough because we need to first go down with the opacity of this reflection. And as you may know, the Fresnel effects, take place, which means that the reflection far away from us is more visible than the reflection close to us. So we need the gradient there. So what I'm doing now is this. I'm taking the swimming pool folder and I bring it inside another group, Control G. And this is the Fresnel, okay, for the pool. Make a mask, gradient, and then I'm doing something like this with a linear reflection, or a linear gradient, sorry, not a radial, okay? So I'm trying different many times, okay? Okay, so let's say that this is the horizon, so the reflection is 100% strong at the horizon. We can pin the starting point of a gradient there, which is, white. And then we can just keep this going down and we can get a nice realistic result, like in this case, okay? Now, what is missing is a little bit of distortion because, it's water and maybe it's moving a little bit. And now, unfortunately, you cannot distort, you cannot use the smudge tool on a smart object or on a group itself. So what I'm doing now here is to make a new layer, okay, with this reflection. Okay, so I press Ctrl Alt E, you see, and I have a new layer with the content of this group. And now I can just smudge this result. Now this will be destructive, so if I made a mistake, I need to go back to this and make another copy, Ctrl Alt E, and start all over. But at least, you know, I have a backup. So this is going, you know, invisible. We don't need this anymore for now. We select the reflection, and then with the smudge tool, this with the finger here, okay, smudge tool, what I'm going to do here is to make very small brush, like, you know, a circle brush. I will zoom in. Normally what I do here is I use the pen instead of the mouse, so I can use the pressure, okay? So almost 100% hardness, very small, very, very small size, 1, 2 pixels, 3 pixels, something like that. And then with a very, you know, let's say we can try and some different strength. But what I want to do is I want to do horizontal movements. So I want to, first of all, detach the unlink the content with the mask. I don't want to modify the mask. What I want to do is this. I want to just, you know, break the image horizontally, because if you have some waves, some ripples on the water, from this point of view, they becomes lines. Okay, so you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this everywhere, or, you know, exaggerate with this effect, but, you know, just a little bit, maybe with different strength. You know, maybe a little bit. You know, see, you put a little bit of white on the gray, a little bit of gray on the white, but always horizontal movements, because this is how water looks like from the side view. Okay, if you don't want to spend time doing millions of lines like I'm doing right now, you can do a custom brush like this. You can make a new file. Okay, let's say 2000. You can go with a white background, and then you pick a black color, a new layer. You pick this shape here, and you start making some dots. Okay, it doesn't matter where they are. Okay, some of them bigger, some of them smaller, like this. Try to make them at different height, not in line, not like this. Okay, and once you have something like this, you can then transform this into a brush preset. Okay, and with this brush preset, you can go back here, take the smudge, search the new tip you just created, like this one, and then in the brush settings, you go down with the spacing, you see, and you squeeze the brush tip like this. Okay, so now when I'm going to use the brush, instead of creating just one line, one single line, I'm going to create more than one. Okay, let me see if probably this is too small. Okay, no, it was too big. Okay, now we can work, you see, and now we can just do these effects a lot easier, always pressing Shift, and we can increase the strength if you want. We can increase the size. See, probably too much. We need to make it a little bit bigger and a little bit less strong. Of course, you can have multiple different brushes. The only con of this method is that if you don't like something, you have to do this again, because you need to start again all over from the smart object. You need to make a copy, rasterize it again, and so on. But the key here is randomness. So you can have, a very big one. See, be careful to move always horizontally. And maybe you can also try with different shapes, because now these are pretty sharp. You can try with a much more blurry stroke. Okay. Now we keep the swimming pool like this for now. And we are going to see how to paint light inside the swimming pool in one of the next videos.